Philadelphia Phillies. And Steve, coming to you first, we get Rasmussen going for the Rays. Call it an opener, a bullpen game. Actually, he's gone back-to-back 4-inning starts and only 1 earned run total. So it's working here for the Rays starter tonight. And the Phillies going with Suarez on the hill. Of course, the Rays, the #1 team in the American League. Phillies, what, about 4.5 games back from the Braves? They need this one tonight at home. You liking anything here in Philadelphia tonight, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Braves Yankees yesterday here on the show, and we'll touch on that again a little bit in this show as well. But what I said yesterday was that the Braves are now pretty heavy favored. They're minus 400 friends at FanDuel to win the NL East. Phillies are now 4-1. Mets are now 11-1. And boy, have things changed quickly in the past week or so. Because keep in mind, Philadelphia did take that division lead a couple weeks ago, but they're now, as you said, 4.5 back. They're minus 22 net runs. Braves are plus 88. So it does look like Atlanta's pulling away. Philly's a team I'd be very cautious with right now. Meanwhile, Tampa, I don't want to say they're pulling away in the East, but they have a 4-game lead on the Yankees. The Red Sox are now 6.5 back. So it does look like Tampa in better current form here. They've been kind of a feast or famine team for several years now, including their AL pennant last year. They cannot obviously put up big runs in chunks, go cold at times, but they've been red hot. You look at this current 6-1 run, their last 7 games, they scored at least 7 runs or more in every one of those wins, 6 of those 7 games. I just don't trust Philly. A little inconsistent here. They did put up 7 on Sunday. Maybe a lean towards the over here, but I would play Tampa as far as the side.
Okay, good stuff, Stephen. Dave, coming to you next. You know, the Rays, kind of a tricky handicap overall. I would look to bet on them tonight. You know, the better bullpen here, but interested in your opinion before I fire away.
Well, let's look at Drew Rasmussen first. I actually have quite a bit to talk about in this game. It's a game that just missed my card, and I'll tell you why. But it is the best bet for me on the show because, again, I only played 1 game today. Let's first talk Rasmussen. Last 2 games is 8 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks, and very efficient. He threw 50 pitches to cover 4 innings, then 56 pitches to cover 4 innings. That's outstanding. So he's throwing the ball. He's commanding his pitches very well. Suarez has been great at home for the Phillies. His OPS in home games, and it's covering enough innings now so that it's, a pretty good sample. It's 389. That is just amazing. Now, here's the reason I didn't play the under, because those numbers clearly point to this being a pitching duel early on. I wonder if Suarez might be hitting a little bit of a wall. They have stretched him out now. He's getting into that 75-80 pitch range. So he's now being treated like at first it was, okay, let's get him out there for 3 or 4 innings, see how it goes. Now he's kind of in that starting pitcher realm as far as pitch count goes. You get to 75-80 pitches. That means you're out there for 4 or 5 innings, and they might continue to stretch him out. The problem I have is the last start for Suarez. And granted, 1 start is a very small sample. But he wasn't good in this last start. He had control problems. He got hit. I just wonder if he might be fatiguing a little bit because this is definitely increasing workload for him. So the overall numbers clearly point to the under first 5 here. And if I were going to bet the game, that's what I would be doing. The only holdup for me is that it wasn't a complete sell sign on Suarez last start. And I want to see if he bounces back from it tonight. But I am going to watch this carefully because if Suarez struggles with his control again, that is the sell sign. If it's a second straight start, and I'll be looking to make money going against him. I would lean Tampa Bay in the game, and my stronger opinion is still the under in the first 5. Call it my second best bet on the card tonight. But I want to stress I did not bet the game, so it's not a free play. And I had to go with something for a best bet here in the show, and that's going to be the one I use.
Next level handicap in there from Dave Cokin, circling the starting pitcher, maybe looking to fade him next time out if isn't bringing the goods tonight. That's good stuff, Dave. And actually, Steve, I got a question for you because the Rays, their lineup, I kind of circled it when Nelson Cruz came over. I believe he played 24 games for the Rays, 7 home runs, but his average was under 200. And now he's out of the Rays lineup, yet the Rays are raking right now. Do you have that circled as kind of a look to fade the Rays, or are you just riding this wave of they're hitting the ball well right now?
Yeah, they've scored 8 runs or more, I think, in some like 9 of their last 14 games. I mean, it's not like, 8's like a total for a full game. That's how much they're hitting right now. And they're a powerhouse team. Offensive momentum is something I said many times. I think it's very underrated when handicapping baseball. I'm not going to try to guess when that ends because they're red hot. Now, they did have yesterday off, and they're also coming off the big 3-game home series against the White Sox. So now this is a interleague game on the road. So I maybe could see this being the catalyst that cools them off, but I want to take a wait and see approach first.
Okay, good stuff, Steven. We got Johnny Outlaw in the chat box saying Rays will work the count, get to the Phillies bullpen. Rays are raking right now, so looking to go with Tampa Bay in that one. We got next game up, 2 games to go, and best bets at the end. Dave, coming to you next with the Chicago White Sox and Toronto Blue Jays. 2 good lineups here north of the border with the Rays back in Toronto. Cease going for the White Sox, 170 strikeouts year to date. Control can be a question mark at times. Going up against Jose Berrios, minus 122 favorites here. That's the Blue Jays at home, seeing at the Wager Talk odds screen, Dave. Total of 9. We got the White Sox and Blue Jays tonight, Dave.
Yeah, Barrios is not in real good form right now. Sometimes when a pitcher, I thought when he got traded, well, he just went from a team that's out of it to a team that might have a chance. They were buying at the deadline. It's like, well, they might have a chance to make the playoffs. These are going to be big games for Barrios, and he has not been all that great since he went to the Blue Jays. So you wonder if the pressure might be having a little bit of an impact. And the Blue Jays have actually not been that great lately. Cease is pitching better ball than Barrios right now. The negative, however, is that Cease has not been as good on the road this year as he's been at home. It's funny. I had a lot to say about the last game. I don't have much to say about this game. I don't know where. I really don't know what to make of Barrios right now, and I don't trust Cease on the road. I'm just going to, rather than clog up anybody's ears with information that's not pertinent, I'll just issue a pass on this game and see if Steve has something worthwhile.
Sure, all is well, Dave. And, Steve, looking at both of these lineups, I guess both top 5 lineups against righties. Actually, their bullpens have been pitching a little bit better as of late, too. But I would put them both top half bullpen-wise. I would say 2 good pitchers here. I mean, Berrios, to Dave's point, he has had some ups and downs. I would say 3 good starts since coming over to the Blue Jays, 1 bad start. And Cease, I mean, those strikeout rates, that's tough to step in front of. So I think it's an interesting handicap tonight. What are you thinking?
Yeah, and as far as the total in this one, there are 9s out there. There's 8.5s out there, and obviously 9 is a very key number with MLB totals. 7 and 9 are the 2 key numbers, and of course, people often ask after these shows, they'll say, "Why are those key numbers?" It's because games can't end in 4-4 ties or 3-3 ties. So when they have to get to extra innings, they're more likely to land on 7 or 9 at that point. Both teams offensively have been capable this year, but they've also gone through. The White Sox have been inconsistent at times. The Blue Jays have really been solid all season. But this does look like a team, Drew, that's starting to cool off. And, we talk about run differential a lot of times, and it's not necessarily something I use strongly on a daily basis, but for big picture takeaways, over 162 games, I think it's nice to step back, see the forest from the trees sometimes. And the Blue Jays still right now have the 4th best run differential in the American League, yet they're still only 4th in their own division, 11 games out of the lead, and now 4.5 out of the final wild card spot. So you could say the Blue Jays have been one of the biggest underachievers this year, but it looks like maybe things have caught up to them finally. And they entered this game now on that cold streak here where they've lost, I believe it's 7 of their last 10. Offensively is what's happened. They've cooled off. They've now scored 3 runs or less in 4 straight games, despite going 2-2. I'd lean under the 9. Once again, there's some 8.5s out there, but I still see a few 9s. White Sox have scored 1 and 0 their last 2 games. So I think both offenses will struggle again tonight. If you get 9 or more, I think the under is worth a look.
All right, maybe looking towards the under there in game number 3 as we've got 1 game left. Best bets still to come here. Steve, coming back to you with the nightcap for the show. They're all at 7 o'clock, though, here, the 4 games we're breaking down. That's just the way it went in terms of competitiveness from the odds makers' perspective. We get the Mets hosting the San Francisco Giants. Competitive price again here. Seeing the Mets now minus 110 favorites. We can call the Giants even plus 100 road underdogs. Total of 8 in New York. Long versus McGill here. Steve, any interest in the Giants and Mets tonight?
Well, I touched on it earlier in the show about those division odds. The Mets, of course, less than a month ago were minus 200 to win this division. Now they're 11-1. I mean, how the mighty have fallen. DeGrom being out was a death blow to them. He's now been moved to the 60-day injured list. The Mets are pretty much finished, I think, and the odds makers are telling us that. The question is, what do the Padres have left? The Padres are now 250-1 to win their division. 250-1 to win the division, yet to win the NL overall, they're still the third or fourth, maybe the sixth favorite, like at 18-1. And the reason, of course, is because the Padres are now, I believe it's 11 or 12 back. I think it's 13 back to win the division behind the Dodgers and Giants. Yet they're only one back for the final wild card spot. As we've talked about here on the show, Cincinnati was closing on them. It was 4 a couple weeks ago. Now Cincinnati has a one-game lead in the wild card. So it's amazing how quickly things can change. This is a big series for both teams, but I think it's even bigger for San Diego, and I just don't trust the Mets right now. And San Francisco's a team here in this game, I think, is going to definitely keep their foot on the throttle. We talked about the Giants regressing this season at some point. And once again, if we look at run differential, they're a legitimate team, second best in the National League and one of the top 4 basically all season in baseball. In fact, they've led this division since the last week of April. The Dodgers rather lost the lead the last week of April. The Giants have never looked back. So until I see San Francisco falter, I'm not going to fade them. I have seen the Mets falter, so I think the Giants are the preferred play in this game.
Sure, the Giants, best record in baseball and plus 100 here on the road, Dave. You have any interest in that? And what are you thinking tonight overall in New York?
I lead Mets here, mostly on the pitching. He's been solid. He's a good example of a guy who's got, caught fairly pedestrian stuff. I don't think there's any one pitch that you can look at with McGill and say, geez, that's a great pitch. But he mixes his stuff up well and he throws strikes. And that's you do that, you can get by. And he's been there's been some disappointments for the Mets this season, to be sure. But Tyler McGill is definitely not one of them. And I give him an edge over Long. I don't know how long it goes here. He's been mixed as a starter and a reliever. He hasn't really been very good as a starting pitcher. The numbers do favor McGill. What doesn't favor McGill, and I do look at this because it's just, I don't like to step in front of streaks. And despite the fact that McGill, to me, has a pretty clear advantage over Long, first 5 innings, the last 4 outings for McGill, 0-4. Maybe not his fault. They haven't gotten that many runs, but, I'm not crazy about stepping in front of a streak. But I do think the Mets' first 5 is probably the way to play here if you're going to get involved in this game. Just on the starting pitching, McGill is just better than Long, and it's not very expensive. It's like, I think it's a little more expensive than the full game. It's about minus 120 on the first 5. So, by the way, based on that, the odds makers kind of tell you, at least the market kind of telling you, that the Mets, if they're going to win this game, they better win it early. They're a very small favorite for the full game. It's like minus 110. It's actually less than that, minus 106, minus 104 now. So it's basically pick 'em. But they are still a favorite over the first 5, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, and McGill, of course, his last time out actually against this Giants lineup, and pitched very well. Yep. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 5 hits given up with 6 strikeouts. Long on the other side. Kind of a tough handicap in the sense there's not a lot of sample size, only 28 innings at the MLB level and over a 5 ERA. So I agree with Dave, maybe looking towards the starting pitcher edge there with the Mets. And the last game we'll break down before best bets. But Steve, did want to ask you brought up the Cincinnati Reds kind of reeling in the San Diego Padres here. And of course, they've won 4 straight with the Padres 2-8 their last 10. Good points there. So do you think the Reds finish the season as the wild card kind of team here and the Padres are left out? Or do you think it's the other way around?
The betting odds right now, there's bettable odds on this. Will they make the playoffs? 62% chance, yes, that Cincinnati makes the playoffs. You're getting a 2-1 payoff. It's about a 30% chance that the Padres make the playoffs, and they're only 1 game back. I personally actually like that bet. You can get plus 200 right now in San Diego to make the playoffs, and you can get about plus 150 on the no on Cincinnati. I don't agree that with a 1-game lead and having a series against Milwaukee right now that the Reds are a 62% chance and the Padres are a 30%. Neither one of those teams are going to win their division. So I think those are actually a couple good bets right there. Cincinnati at plus money on the no and San Diego on the yes, or just play one of them because obviously you've got double exposure. But yeah, Drew, it's interesting you bring that up because those are the current odds. 62% chance Cincinnati makes it, 30% San Diego makes it. I think it's more 50-50.
I think the Padres are in a world of hurt. They fired the pitching coach. Somebody had to be the scapegoat, but I mean, the pitching's just not there. Tonight, it's another bullpen game. They got to go with Pierce Johnson tonight. They've got two bullpen games now in their rotation. Stammen is getting starts, and Johnson now getting a start. Darvish is on the disabled list. Snell continues to be maddeningly inconsistent. Musgrove has been their most reliable guy. Weathers, they basically have had to take Weathers out of the rotation because he's been absolutely horrible. I don't know where the pitching is going to come from. So I actually do, and the scheduling, by the way, Reds have a lot easier schedule down the stretch than the Padres do, and also, and I'm not going to count them out. The Phillies have a very easy schedule down the stretch. They're an inconsistent team, and I'm not sure Girardi presses the right buttons all the time, but they're not that far out of it. I would not eliminate the Phillies from the wild card conversation. So I don't think San Diego's going to make it unless they've plucked side. And here's the real killer. Mackenzie Gore is their highly touted prospect. Forget about him, at least for this year. He's got a case of the yips. He can't find the strike zone. So the guy that they were counting on, if they needed somebody to come up and fill the void, was Mackenzie Gore, and he's not going to be there. They got a bunch of trouble in San Diego, and they've really lost their swagger.
Oh man, case of the yips there. I love your breakdown there of the Padres, David. I know you know them very well, watching them there in Vegas a lot. So good stuff in terms of predictions for the NL wildcard, guys. As we head towards best bets, first, I guess Steve, if you want to lead us off here, guys, check out Steve Merril, knows his college football, NFL, and obviously his MLB as well. Experts page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Steve, where are you heading for best bets, buddy?
You're going to get to a free baseball here for Tuesday night, a game that was just a bit outside for me in a best bet. I treat this as a 1 to 2% opinion play. Just a reminder, I do have a strong 4% over-under best bet tonight in Major League Baseball for Tuesday. Number one ranked capper this season in Major League Baseball in totals at WagerTalk.com, over 52 net units won. We cashed last night on Monday, going to cash again tonight, get that strong over-under best bet for Tuesday night on a single play, or get it as part of that 90-day all-access special. If you sign up this week, you get another 30 days included. So it's a 120-day package with that $400 discount. Gets you the entire college football regular season, almost the entire NFL regular season, the rest of baseball World Series, a couple months of basketball as well, college and pro. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Let's get to that side selection, my top side opinion tonight, and that is the Milwaukee Brewers on the run line, -1.5, +105. A big series here for both teams. Milwaukee's going to win this division. They're about a 1-30 favorite right now. Cincinnati 13-1 to somehow come from behind 7.5 games. But I think Milwaukee finishes them off here the next few days. And it starts tonight with their ace on the mound in Corbin Burns. This is a guy that remains vastly underrated this season. Over his last 3 starts, he's gone 21 innings combined. He's allowed 1 run and just 10 hits. I mean, he's in excellent current form still. Shutdown pitcher. And Cincinnati here, I just don't think they have enough to get it done tonight. And let's look at the Brewers on the run line. Instead of laying over $2 with Burns, we're getting them at plus money now, -1.5, +105. Back-to-back wins this weekend over the hapless Nationals, yes, by 4 and 3 runs. But if you look at this current 6-2 run that the Brewers are on, 5 of those 6 wins have come by at least 2 runs or more. And if you go back over the past couple weeks, they're on a 10-3 run. 9 of those 10 wins have come by at least 2 runs or more. So I think they win tonight, and that means they win by margin. Milwaukee Brewers -1.5, +105 tonight on Tuesday. That game goes at 8 p.m. Eastern.
All right, Brewers on the run line from Steve Merril. Guys, for my best bet, I'm heading to the Atlanta Braves New York Yankees game, and I'm going on the underdog that has won 10 straight games. The trend is your friend, and strength of schedule, the two things I'm kind of mixing together for this handicap. I got the Yankees +127 right now as the underdog. And again, guys, they've won 10 straight games. Trend is your friend. They got Heaney on the hill. And if you look at his last 2 starts, or last 4 starts, let's call it, not that great. 16 earned runs, average of 4 runs given up per game. But when you look at the lineups he's faced, the Red Sox, the White Sox, 2 good lineups in his last 2. And Charlie Morton on the other side, he's got a hot hand, on the peripherals, Blimp's view type. But almost all of the lineups he's faced since the end of June, NL East lineups. And like Steve says, NL East there outside of 2 teams. So I think he's kind of padding his stats a little bit against lineups that can't hit that well. He's gone multiple times against the Marlins. That's some AAA lineups would give the Marlins a run for their money. Plus, we get the better bullpen here with the Yankees in the later innings. The plus price, team winning 10 straight games. I'm on the Yankees plus 127. Throw it over to Dave Cokin here, #1 college football handicapper all time at WagerTalk.com. College football starting this Saturday, guys. But Dave, throw it over to you for best bets and final thoughts here, buddy.
Yeah, I've got a best bet up for college football. Not for this weekend. It's for next week. And I probably won't play anything in this ugly assortment of games this week. But I do a best bet up for next week and a free play for next week as well on a team that I think might be getting overlooked by a lot of people going into the season. As for baseball, I only played 1 game tonight. It's funny when I sat down to do my just to give you a little background on how I do things each day when I'm doing the baseball. I don't look at the odds until I've done my breakdowns and made my own prices on the games. Then I look at the odds to see where I might have value. And in doing the capping for today's schedule, I had like 4 or 5 games checked off. I was like, this might be a really good card. Unfortunately, the odds makers got me out of a bunch of games, and I only ended up with 1 play. Leaned to the Diamondbacks, but the price was too high. Leaned to the Mets, but didn't like that 0-4 on McGill in his first 5 the last 4 starts, even though he's pitching good ball. Leaned Oakland, but I got priced out of that game. They're not scoring any runs right now, 22 runs in their last 9 games, and managed to blow the game last night. So, and I was left with 2. The one I played, which is my best bet, and this one, that again, I explained earlier why I'm a little reluctant, because Suarez, to me, maybe some sell sign indicators in his last start. I do like the under first 5 with Rasmussen and Suarez, Rays and Phillies. But again, it's best bet for the show, but it's not a play for me. So don't go out there and don't yell at me if it loses, okay? I didn't bet it myself. If you want to have some fun with it, go right ahead. As for everything else, just check out my homepage, WagerTalk, and you can find out what's available.
Always a good page to check out daily, guys. Free information, Dave Cokin, experts page, WagerTalk.com. So, guys, we got recap here of best bets before we shut it down. Yankees plus 127, the underdog winning 10 straight for me. We got Dave Cokin, Rays, Phillies, first 5 under 4.5. You just heard it. And Steve Merril, Brew Crew, minus the run line, plus money on that as well. So those are the best bets. And guys, thanks for tuning in. Fun Tuesday show here. Remember, it's $2 Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. For Steve Merril, Dave Cokin, I'm Drew Martin. Best of luck with your bets until then. Please smash the like button on your way out. We'll talk tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Our 90-day all-access package is always incredibly popular at the start of football. We've made it even better. Not only do we discount the 90-day all-access package to $7.99, but until August 29th, we've added 30 days. That's right, until Sunday, August 29th, you get 120 days of the most action-packed sports month for only $7.99. That would include the rest of the NFL preseason, all MLB plays through the World Series, the entire college football regular season, at least 15 weeks of the NFL, over 2 months of the NHL and NBA, over 6 weeks of college basketball, plus any soccer, UFC, Asian baseball, Asian basketball, golf, and any other sports your favorite capper releases. The most action-filled 120 days of the sports year are yours for only $7.99.